right, it's a new day in the studio, so time for a brand new painting. We're gonna do something similar to what we did in the last module where I'm taking you through an entire landscape painting step by step. Today we're gonna be doing a gradient. So as you know, we've practiced the gradient fading between colors. We're gonna do kind of like a sunset. So blue to purple to orange to yellow. So I'm gonna express all that paint onto my palette. So whatever color blue you'd like, I'm just using ultramarine blue. Then I'm gonna mix that into my purple or my violet. And then you have your orange and your yellow. And of course, you'll need your acrylic gesso so that we have smooth transitions between these colors. So get all your paint ready. First, I have my fresh water, we're ready to go. And then we'll start laying down the acrylic gesso. So I think I'm actually going to mix this directly into my 4 colors. So I've got blue, purple, orange, and yellow. Like I said, I'm just gonna mix a little bit of this into each color. So just express them out on top, and then we'll do some mixing with our palette knife.
All right, so let's get this paint on the canvas. We're gonna start with a blue strip at the very top. And don't worry, nothing has to look perfect right now. We're just getting the paint on the canvas. So a nice blue strip, and then I'm cleaning off my brush in between each one of these colors. So now let's go in with our purple strip. Nice and smooth. Getting that wiped off a little bit. You just don't want everything to be muddy right out the gate. So cleaning off the brush in between is just helping with that. Then we got our orange, and then finally our yellow, and then our orange again, purple, and blue, because we're doing a reflection. All right, so we've kind of just mirrored our colors a little bit. Once you have the strips and you feel like you have enough paint, just go ahead and start with that flat brush and just start blending the colors together. So blue and purple are obviously our more dominating colors, and our orange and our yellow are going to be more subtle, and they'll be more easily taken over when you're doing blending. So you want to stick to blending the blue to the purple and then a little bit into the orange, but don't go all the way to the yellow with your blue and your purple, because it will overtake the yellow and it'll change it, and it'll even mix in a little bit of green there, because obviously we know blue and yellow make green, so we don't want any green skies. So stick with blending the purple and blue, and then just touch in a little bit into the orange, and we'll clean our brush really, really good before we touch the yellow at all, and you'll see that'll keep that vibrant yellow hue for you. But don't rush this at all. Just kind of grab some of that excess paint, dragging it up to the top and then dragging it down to the bottom, and just hovering mostly on the lines between the colors. So we've cleaned our brush like I mentioned, and now you're taking the yellow into the orange, but you really don't want to drag the yellow too far down, like I said earlier, because we don't want to accidentally muddy up the yellow. If you feel like a color is getting kind of lost, you're not happy with how vibrant it is, then just add a little bit more. Like I added just a little bit more to my orange strip right there, because I felt like it was getting a little bit lost. And I want each individual layer to stand out and be nice and bright. So play around with how much paint you first lay down, and if you need to add another layer. And like I said, just be patient, kind of keep going over these layers and until they're nice and soft, smooth transitions. You don't want any harsh lines. So you can tell I'm hovering on that line between the purple and the orange, but that's going to be the spot that's going to be a little bit harder to blend out, because they're completely different in color, as far as the darkness of the purple to the lightness of the orange. Once you're happy with how it's all blended, we're going to go ahead and go in with a very light color mountain because it's going to be a very far away in the distance mountain. So play around with the shape and the skyline that you'd like here. So it's almost like a light pink color. I actually mixed in a little bit of the excess orange and purple that I had from my sky colors in with some white and just softened it up, and so it's kind of a really, really soft pink color. And just whatever size peaks you want, but just try not to totally erase the yellow and orange, so don't make the peaks too big. And then blow dry so we have it nice and dry so we can go in with our next layer. I just had that same background color and I added some brown into it. So now we have just a slightly darker color to go in here with and overlap over the top of that first mountain that we placed. We don't want to cover up all of the background mountain. We just want to kind of complement it and kind of push it into the background with this next layer. And then to smooth out your shoreline. All right, and that's going to be our first step, or several steps, with this landscape painting. Just kind of play around with the shape of your mountains there until you're happy. I'll see you in the next video.